Alright folks, so we're making the world's smallest septic system for sure. And we're going to put her together in this video. I don't know how far I will get explaining it all, but at least in this video you will see how this is put together. We're going to use, 2.5 to 3 5-gallon buckets. You'll need one lid, and however many buckets you want, you'll see what I mean. I dug this ditch with the excavator, but you'll be digging this ditch by hand with a shovel, and you will only go the width of a 5-gallon bucket and the height of a 5-gallon bucket. So that's not much digging with a shovel. I dug a huge hole. You don't have to do that. Let's get started now. All right, so for the 3-inch pipe, I am using a 3 and 5-inch hole saw, and she let's see, she does pretty decent right there to be just about perfect. And then for the 2-inch pipe, I am using a 2 and 5/8 hole saw. Okay, folks. All right, so let's get started. All right, so I'm going to drill my first hole is going to be with the 3 and 5/8 for the 3-inch pipe coming from, let's just say, your tiny house. This is a system for a tiny house, a RV, an emergency system, a temporary system. It could be permanent, but it can also, it's perfect for temporary. Let's say you have a tiny house on a trailer, you pull it in your cousin's yard, you're in the back, you don't want to go digging with the excavator and put in a big, real 2-code septic system. You don't even want to dig and make a huge mess and put in, 3 55-gallon drum septic systems. You want as little footprint as possible, and that's what you get with this. Anyway, so let's get started, folks. All right, here we go. All right, so we've got, you're going to need a sawzall or some sort of saw, and of course a drill. All right, so when we drill this hole here, we want to make sure we're as high as we can be, but at the same time we got to take into consideration the lid. We got to make sure that lid could still fit tight, because this will be barely under the ground. The top of the lid will be barely under the soil. We'll make sure of that. And we want to be able just to scrape the dirt off, or you can have it above the ground just a little bit, just so you can get the lid off. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Folks, now I'm not gluing any of this. This is for video purposes only. This isn't in use for me. I'm doing it for you. Now this isn't to code. Just remember that. This isn't to code. This is temporary. It's better than pooping outside. All right, so we're going to put our 2 and 5/8 in and put a hole on the other side. We'll be putting a hole directly across right here. with the 2 5/8, and that is for our 2-inch pipe. Now we want this hole. We want this hole that we're putting in. We want it a little bit lower than this. So you see this hole here? Well, on the other side over here, we want our 2-inch hole, the bottom of our 2-inch hole, to be a little bit lower than this 3-inch hole here. Just a little bit. You don't have much room with this bucket. And so if we do a 1/2 inch or so, that'll be fine. That way, whenever a drop flows in, a drop always flows out. All right, let's do it. So I know I'm about 1 inch down from here. All right, folks. Can you still see everything? Make sure we're still on the go. Okay, you see what I'm doing here. Make sure the bucket is somewhat level. Don't have to be perfect. We don't want to put our pipe in really far. We don't want to do that. We want to keep it back a little ways just for room purposes inside there. Let's do a test with the lid. Perfect. All right. Now we're not real concerned about everything being watertight. You can spend money on the big rubber grommets, washers, whatever you want to call them, to fit in these holes and slide the pipe in and do all that, but that's wasted money and time. Nothing will ever really seep out of here. This is underground, so this whole thing works off of seepage. It seeps into the ground, so if a little comes out and seeps into the ground, it's underground. That's what it's doing anyway. The same goes for both ends. Pipe flowing downhill. It's coming from a whole subdivision of people. Turds floating in. Turds floating in, folks. All right. Now, picture it underground. This pipe is in a ditch. And you're going to cover up the ditch so that dirt holds everything together. And think of temporary. This can be permanent, but think of temporary because you want to make it easy where you can pull it back out. That's when you move your camper or your tiny house, you can still pull this all back out. All right. So this is a 2-inch sanitary tee. This is a 2-inch pipe. All right, folks, so we are going to, let's see, let's cut, we'll just take a guess at it. Let's do about, I don't know, about so much. Remember, we are not gluing this because, well, this is for video purposes only. All right, so you want a T on there, and it keeps the poop from going out the outlet end. Now, you'll notice we've got a 3-inch coming in. we've got a 2-inch going out. This system is for a toilet only. You can't run wash machines and sinks off of this. This is for a toilet that doesn't get a ton of use. So yeah, maybe a toilet that flushes twice, 3 times a day, and you'll see. We'll make it to where if too much water rushes in and not enough goes out, we'll make it to where it will work that way. We don't want to put a 3-inch pipe going out with a 3-inch T, not in this, because you have no room. Now you can, but you have no room to clean that bucket out, and we want room to clean this bucket out, that's for sure. All right, so you glue her up. I'll show you all of it in just a minute. Hang on, hold your horses. We're going to glue a 90 on there, keeping it straight in line with our sanitary tee. All right, so hang on, folks. All right, how's she look? Okay. All right, we'll put all this together. The dirt will hold this in place. And all right, so we're taking another bucket, and we're going to cut her right in half, like so. Right in half. And well, let's see, folks. Let's move her over here so we can get a good look. All right, let's do it. Let's take the handle off. Channel locks. Grab it like so. Boom. Okay, so we're going to cut it here all the way around. Can you see it? Alright, so the two open ends, we want to put those together like so. The two open ends together. This end being towards the septic tank, the 5-gallon bucket. sweet. All right, how's that look? Can you see all that, what I'm doing? Well, why is that glare on there like so? Well, hopefully you won't see that in the video. Hang on, folks. Oh, whatever. Anyway, we got the sun shining through. All right, so let's keep rolling. We're going to drill a hole. You'll see. We'll drill a hole in this thing and we'll put the pipe in. Two and 5/8. You seen how I measured it? Put your glue on. This will fit in the hole. It will come up, pop right in there, like so. Like so. All right, you see what I got going there. Okay, so we're going flowing downhill, folks. It's coming in. She's coming in. Where's my stick? Coming in, boom, and flowing out. Coming on down, boom, going into this bucket. You want this pipe here, this 2-inch pipe, to go down about, oh, I don't know, maybe an inch or so into there. And then this will fill up with water. We got 2 ends on it. I've overlapped these two just a little to give it some strength. We've got, let's put a hole in here and have it go into another one. But let's pause it while I cut this bucket for time's sake. All right, folks, so you can see I cut the pipe already and put it on the end right here. But I'm going to pull it back off. I've got it overlapping this bucket for strength-wise, for strength purposes. But watch what I do here. It's super simple. I'm going to drill a hole in the bottom of this bucket right here. So on this end of this bucket, I'll drill a hole at the very top. And that way water, when it'll fill up, when this gets full, it'll fill up and overflow into this area. And so the water seeps into the soil under these buckets. These are 5-gallon bucket chambers is what I call them. Infiltrator. We're using the 2 and 5/8 hole saw. You could use whatever you want, but you're best sticking with the 2 and 5/8. All right, so we put the hole up there at the top, as you can see. And then it'll fill up And when the soil has taken all it can take, it'll fill up and overflow into this chamber right here, folks. And we overlap it just a little to give it some strength. All right? Yeah, so, and then cover it up with dirt. And there we go, folks. Now, yeah, here we go. Let's explain this real quick. All right, so turds are coming in. Turds are coming in. Boom, they're floating up top. This tea, the sanitary tea, keeps the turds from floating out here. All right, so let me pause it. I don't want to get too far into it as far as time goes. We're going to extend this up a little. That way, just a little, an inch or so. That way, if an influx of water and it's too much, this will rise up just a little. We don't want it rising up and turds going in through here. So we'll take it up to here. It can still breathe air. And it can take the water going up and down. Hang on. All right, folks, so I just cut however much, 1.5 inches. That will push and set down in there. You'll glue it. All right, they gave us more room. It's still, the lid will fit on there just fine. And so this will be underground. All this will be stable because of the dirt. So remember, it's underground. It doesn't matter if liquid leaks out here. It doesn't matter. It's underground. This is a temporary kind of thing. You can caulk that or put some plastic around it to keep, dirt out of it when you cover it up. But that's it, folks. So, yeah, let's check her out. Folks, this is the world's tiniest septic system. This is just for a toilet. This isn't for a whole house. You've got a tiny house, you put it on mom's property, you dig. You don't dig a huge hole like I did. You dig the width and the height of a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. That's all you got to do. Nothing more. Stick it in there. Hey, poop flows downhill, water flows downhill. That's all you got to remember. You can use 3-inch coming out. You're perfectly fine using the 2-inch. It's got plenty of room. If it gets over full, if it's an influx of water, it's too much it can handle, it'll just, the water level will rise. You'll be perfectly fine. Now, picture this covered up, the ditch not very wide, you cover it up. All right, so you got to move your camper or move your tiny house because it's only there for 6 months. Well, it's no big deal digging this out and throwing it in the trash. Now, let me tell you something. You're going to be way better off if you put your toilet paper in a bag. And I know it sounds crazy, but the old timers used to do it. Put your toilet paper in a bag and just let the poop go in here. If you do that, you'll only have to clean this out about once every 3 months, or maybe once every 6 months. Depends on how big your turds are, I guess. Maybe once a year. And all you'll have to do is come out, open up the lid, take it off, and simply just scoop out your poop, go bury it in a hole. And it's just that simple, huh? It is. Or have a designated shop vac for that purpose. It's that simple, folks. Now, if you flush your toilet paper down in this, what you're going to have to do is, even if you're a one-person household, you're still going to have to clean this out, but you're going to have to clean it out about once every 3 months for sure. So that would be up to you. Anyway, we ain't going to let it go over 25 minutes, folks. We'll see ya.